Hello, dear traders. As you can see, today I'm in the mood for speaking about several topics which have been relevant in the last weeks and months. And let's talk about Sam Bankman-Fried. He has been jailed now for 25 years, a quarter century. And yeah, my personal opinion on it, I'll tell you something. As some of you know, I was interviewed on the Chat with Traders podcast, and there is an episode of Sam Bankman-Fried on here, which I saw. It's around 4 years ago. It's still online. You can still watch it. And when I watched it, my thoughts were, this guy, he doesn't really, have any life experience. Okay, he at that point, everybody was throwing money at him. He was collecting millions and millions from all kinds of investors, and was getting a lot of support from all kinds of directions. And there are many videos on him still online where you can see him, in front of screens talking, and my feeling was right. I was thinking, this guy, he may be like a technical wizard, and he figured out some things in the crypto space, which was very young at that point. He was able to do some arbitrage trading in crypto and made a lot of money with that. But the vibe was very clear. Okay, he was too young, didn't have enough life experience, didn't have enough ethics. All right, that's the truth. So, ironically, he ended up conducting the biggest financial fraud in history. Can you imagine? And the truth is that all this was driven by greed. It's really that simple. If he would have made different choices, and again, sometimes it involves leaving money on the table, all right? Like I said before. He could have become one of the richest people in the world, maybe, in a few years or decades. He could have changed the world for the better. And what did he do instead? He just created losses, fraud. He had a bad impact on the whole crypto space. And the truth is that he just got carried away. He got arrogant. He got ignorant. He was flying high before he was falling down. It's always the same pattern. Don't you see that? They figured out a technical thing and were able to squeeze some money out of it. Then they were successful involving other people in it. But as much as he went up, he just went down even faster. And this is really crazy. Can you imagine? I mean, when this is over, he will probably be, I guess, in his 60s or 50s. And he has a lot of time now to think about what he did. And how things would have turned out differently if he would have made different decisions, yeah? And if he wouldn't have misled people. And, there's a certain type of people. And when I heard this interview of him, I knew immediately he's that type. And you will meet them in real life, on the smaller scale. You will meet these kind of people. There are certain people who are they are fraudsters by nature. And some, they even get a kick out of tricking the whole system and tricking everyone, tricking as much as they can. That gives them the kick. Not even the money, but tricking people and the system. Without any ethics, without any morals, without any integrity, without any stoicism, with nothing, with no values. Just trying to trick like as if everything would be a game. And I, in my life, have met some of those people, and I can advise you, all you should do is run as far away as you can from people like that, who have no morals, no values, no integrity, and all they're interested in is tricking everything and everyone. There are those people. And what happens is, in the short term, they are able to make a lot of money, and that makes them feel, oh, I'm doing the right thing, and I just do rinse and repeat. And all that happens is, they just increase the amount of damage later on, because they make their scams bigger, 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 and then everything takes a very dark turn. And I think for all of us, this is a great reminder. Okay, do you want to be a hero or do you want to be a villain? If you make the wrong decisions like this guy, you will be a villain. Okay? And look what you stand for in the end. One day you die, and this is what you stand for. This is sad. You could have done the right thing. Okay, you could have proper processes in place. Okay, have proper separated accounts in place. Not move money between entities, which, are different entities, and it shouldn't be mixed up. It's very clear that SBF just had a giant scheme. And of course he is a smart guy, he's very intelligent. But what does it help to be super smart but to have no values, no ethics and no life experience? Sometimes people like that, they get sorted out by life. Like it takes a few years or decades, and then, they will become better people because they learn along the way. They get downfalls and they see what happens to others. And, some of them, even though very few, they get a moment of enlightenment and they change for the better. But he's definitely not one of them. I mean, now by force, he will be forced to rethink all his choices in life. And, he'll probably write a book in prison and whatnot. And I will follow this. It will be interesting how he will be once he comes back from prison. But this was so unnecessary. It wasn't necessary. It wasn't. He could have made different choices. And of course there's intent here. There's no question about it. Just to say, I didn't know, that's laughable. And that's why he got also the 25-year sentence. Of course there's evidence. Of course you had a clear intent. And sometimes, legally speaking, things may be in the gray zone. But that doesn't even matter. That's what people like that, they don't take into account. If your intent was bad, and it's very clear that what you tried to do was not according to the law, you will be caught. You can't get away with it just by, by trying to complicate things and then by claiming, you didn't know. You did know. You knew that very well. Somebody so switched on knows all the details of everything, of their companies, of their accounts, who is running what, who can do what, what's the effect of doing what, okay? Moving money around between one firm to the other. Of course, they're very aware of all the implications. And you can see the degree of arrogance by reading the stories about it, like when he was pitching FTX to investors and at the same time he was playing computer games and so on. What does that tell you? And you know what? I want to say another thing. He's not the only one who is guilty. Many investors are guilty as well. That's the truth nobody wants to hear. Okay? Because many investors, they also became greedy. They didn't do their due diligence. They didn't ask the right questions. That's the truth. They thought, my friend, the big celebrity invested, so I will invest as well. That's a big, big chunk of investors. Okay, that should be said. They all get in on it because they think they have an edge and because, there's a big network of politicians and lobbyists, okay, and deal makers, so all have an interest. And then, many of the investors say, we didn't know, we were scammed and all that. I can tell you, that's also too simple. Many investors were just greedy, wanted to get a piece of the pie, assumed that this will be the next big thing, and all they did is put money in, thinking that, other people may have figured it out. No, they didn't. And all these warning signs were there, the red flags were there, but they ignored them on purpose because their big eyes and their greed for return has blinded them. And that's also ignorance. You understand? So while SBF is completely guilty, and I personally believe he deserves that sentence, and he will really need to rethink his whole life, and he will have plenty of time to do that, many investors are also guilty, not legally, but from a moral standpoint, because they just were in for the money, okay? They just wanted to be part of an exclusive club. They wanted to take advantage of a situation, okay? They wanted to have an advantage over other people by using personal connections and a network. And that's how these scams happen, all right? People, they are just blind, and they are blinded by potential returns. And in the end, it all was just a scheme. So, very interesting case. Let's see what happens in the future. Don't be this guy. All the best.